Good morning, everyone. My phone is acting up again. It still doesn't like me to go this way. So today we'll be up and down again. I decided today I was going to talk about designing a life, and what I did is I actually went back to some notes from last year. In our paid challenge, Doc's working with us on creating goals. So I went back to some of my notes from last year, my goals that I set up last year. Hi, Anna. Good to see you. And I decided I was going to revisit like goals I set last year, kind of see where I'm at, and look at kind of the notes from a year ago, and then the information that he's guiding us with this year as I'm creating goals, because that's part of what I have to do for my group this week. And I was working on that yesterday, and I went back to some of my notes from, like, this is from August of 2020 when we were working on them last year. So I'm going to just change. I'm not going to share what we're currently talking about, but I'll share what was from a year ago in our paid challenge, just about designing a life. And like I said, this was back to day 179, and we're at day like 600 now. So actually, it was over a year ago. But I thought some of the information was good, so I just figured it'd be something I could talk about today, and it would keep it in my mind for when I'm designing my goals for my group this week. And really kind of what it says is that there are different factors that affect our lives and things that we should kind of think about when we're trying to design our goals. And one of the things it talks about is that we have to think about our environment. We need to think about our, what kind of events are occurring in our lives. What knowledge do we have? What results are we seeking? And what is our view of the future? These are all things we need to take into consideration when we make goals. I kind of agree, and this video we watched, How to Design Your Life, was a Jim Rohn video that we watched last year, or no, 2020, August of 2020. And I do agree that I think kind of setting up goals and monitoring them regularly, like at least reading them weekly, and following up on them, adjusting them along the way is probably very important. And it was kind of interesting to go back and look at my goals from a year ago. And will they change now? Somewhat, yes, because some of the things I've actually accomplished already, some of the things that were longer term than 1 year, and we're kind of setting up goals like up for the next 10 years. And it was kind of interesting to look at it, and it's kind of interesting to revisit it again. I know that like 10 years is long range goals, but what we all find out is that we set expectations too high short term, and then long term we don't set enough. So I think staying on top of them is a good thing. What I kind of thought was interesting on this Jim Rohn video is that he was talking about when you're thinking about what you want in the next 10 years, you need to think about, and he says come up with a list of at least 50 things that you're going to evaluate as to whether what you want to put in your goals. And the questions that Jim Rohn said we need to think about are, what do I want to do? What do I want to see? What do I want to be? What do I want to have? Where do I want to go? And what would I like to share? And it's kind of like a brainstorming session, just to kind of dump everything that's in your mind so that you can come up with the goals. And I did that a year ago, and I kind of did it again yesterday, trying to identify. And what I need to do now is go through and, like break them apart into like 1, 5, and 10 years, and then kind of look at them and see a 10-year goal, what can I break down into a 5 and a 2 and a 1 so that I can keep moving forward on them. Because I think the problem with a lot of us with our videos is that, or our goals, is that we either don't set them up or we make them as resolutions, and if we do set them up, we don't follow up on them. And it's being recommended that you're at least reading them through daily, and I know a lot of people won't do that, but if you're not touching on them on some kind of a regular basis, I think we lose track of them and we don't achieve them. I know being part of the group and accountability partners and that has helped me to kind of move forward in this past year, and in order to keep moving forward, I'm going to have to keep looking for ways to get better and better. One thing that it did talk about last year with Jim Rohn is be really careful that when you set up goals, when you're getting close to achieving them, because we want to set small goals. Like even if your goal is to have, say, that you'll complete 10,000 steps in a day, what you want to do is you're getting close to being regular pattern of doing that, you need to already have in your mind what the next goal is. Because if you don't have that next goal set up, sometimes you'll go through a period of, you'll lose track with goals because you don't have anything to look forward to. We all like to have that thing to look forward to, and we're probably better off if we're looking forward to our goals than that next bowl of ice cream. Or at least for me, that's the case. It does say make sure that you kind of have 3 categories. And again, this is a Jim Rohn video on how to design your life. And he talks about financial goals, tangible goals, meaning like boat, house, car, and then personal development. And again, this is Jim Rohn. Those are the 3 categories he recommends that we set up goals in. Now, what he said is after you do a brainstorm dump of about 50 things that are goals, you try to categorize them in those 3 areas, financial, tangible, and personal, and then identify the 4 most important. And that's what you work on right now. And what you do is you have 4 in 1 year, 4 in 3 year, 4 in 5 year, and 4 in 10 year. And those are the 16 things you're working on. And once you get to that point, it talks about describing in detail, as much detail as possible, how long, what color, why is this goal important, what motivates you, what inspires you about it, what is it that will make you want to keep moving forward on it. As you do put these goals together, if you put a journal together, then you can kind of touch base. They recommend daily, but even if you do it every couple days or once a week, maybe have a journal that's just things that are important to you and just kind of make a comment about them. But I thought it was really kind of interesting. And like I said, we are working on that with Doc V. And I don't want to get, I know like looking at them, I want to think about them in a positive way and be happy and joyful. I don't want to attach to goals, or I don't want to get obsessive or compulsive or frustrated about it. I want to enjoy the journey. At least for me, I'm finding my life works a whole lot better when I learn to enjoy. But keeping them in my mind keeps me from thinking about what I'm missing at instead of what I'm directing myself towards. If we make things painful, we won't do them. If we don't have some kind of a celebration from doing them, we won't keep moving forward. So I think that even sometimes that word goal throws people off. But if you just look at it as a direction or a thing or a set of things that you like to think about to move forward with, I just find it to be really helpful. So if you haven't thought about it, I think even just the first step of coming down and sitting down and writing out 50 things, just brainstorming of what makes you feel good, what kind of things would make you feel like you were moving forward in life, and then just breaking them down into like long and short, just gives you something to look forward to. And look forward to, again, you got to go back to that positive. You want to be looking forward in a positive way. And that way, when your mind is working behind the scenes, it'll be working towards the things you want instead of what you don't want. I know that for too often in my life, I've looked at what I think is missing instead of what is working forward. And I know that I move better when I'm looking forward. So that I like this idea of just brainstorming 50 things and make sure that you keep it in a place where it feels good. I'll let you know how it goes with all this work that we're doing in group, but it just kind of reminded me, and I remembered that video. So as I'm going to just kind of keep brain dumping on the things that make me feel good and that I want to move forward with. Hi, you Pendra, good to see you. I want to keep moving forward. I am going to start, and I kind of did it yesterday, and I'll expand on it more today. Good morning, good morning. But I think that idea of just doing a brain dump, and again, this was a Jim Rohn video on designing your life. Just do a brain dump of 50 things that you would love to see happen in your life. Again, keep it in a positive place where you're feeling good and hopeful and joyful, because we do tend to move forward when we feel hopeful, joyful, and positive. And then once you brain dump that list of 50 things, maybe if you separate it in categories like Jim Rohn says, financial, personal development, and then tangible, meaning like cars and boats and stuff like that, then narrow it down to the top 4. Again, don't get frustrated and worked up and angry about it. Enjoy the journey, but that might just give you something to work towards in a positive way and not attach it to something like New Year's. I do think if we keep looking at things and keep thinking about where we want to go and keep thinking about what adjustment we can make every day or every week, small ones, very small ones, we do tend to move forward. And it was kind of pleasant when I looked back at what I set up a year ago to how far I've come and how much further I can go. And in a lot of cases, I've met my one-year goals and surpassed them. So it's true, I had to narrow down and make it more reasonable. So this idea of 4 per category per, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, and 10 year is good, because they are finding 10 years out, we underestimate, 1 year out, we overestimate. So it's just kind of a brainstorm. Don't make it painful, make it something that you enjoy. And I do like that idea of just brain dumping of what might be interesting, because my mind tends to wander to bad things all the time. So if I can actually brainstorm the things that excite me and things that I'd like to move towards, I can help my mind to move in that direction. So I hope that you find this useful, and like I said, I'll share as we keep moving forward, because we have some homework for Doc V, those of us that are in group, in the next week. But just maybe even think about that. Instead of working and gearing towards a New Year's resolution, maybe just brain dump about 50 items that would make your heart joyful. And then you can just break them apart and into like 10 year, 5 year, 3 year, and 1 year. And don't get frustrated, angry, and over, like I tend to overcommit for 1 year, but maybe kind of make the journey joyful, hopeful, and happy. At least for me, that tends to work better. And I hope for you, you find that too. And again, I'm sorry for the tall picture, but my phone lately does not want to turn sideways. So I'll have to look, and maybe I need to do an update or something. But move forward in a way where you're enjoying, hopeful, and happy, and tossing out the ideas of what will drive you in that direction might be very beneficial. At least I'm finding for me, it is giving me a new excitement, 1, in seeing where I have moved forward, and 2, in being hopeful of what kind of directions can I go in the next year. So thank you for being here. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day, and welcome to November. Thank you.